I lived in a little town with lots of fields and some woods. They were building new houses really fast, so the woods were getting smaller. But there was still a path behind the houses that went through the trees, and it was the fastest way to go places. Whenever I walked on that path, I felt really scared. But I had to go through those woods whether I was going to the store or school. My big brother enjoyed scaring me by telling spooky stories about the woods, which made me even more afraid. In winter, when it got dark early, older kids would hang around the trees scaring younger ones like me. Sometimes they'd ask for money or phones, which scared me a lot because I was small and a girl. Last year, when I went back to my hometown while it was snowing a lot, my mom wanted me to walk our neighbor's old Labrador. She doesn't like the cold much, so she was happy when I said I would do it. I thought it would be cool to take pictures of the snow in the woods with my new camera. While I was taking a picture near the start of the path, I heard a faraway scream in the woods. I thought it was just some kids playing around, so I didn't pay much attention and kept on walking the dog. The snowy place was really peaceful, but it was so cold that I started thinking maybe I shouldn't walk too far. I was concerned about the old neighbor's dog getting too tired, so I decided to go back. Suddenly, I heard someone coming close, so I stopped. I felt like I should hide when I saw some bushes nearby. I quickly went into the bushes, taking the dog with me, because I was worried someone might see my camera and try to take it away. A really tall guy showed up on the path. He wore a black hat and a brown jacket. He looked nervous, always looking around and squeezing his hands as he walked fast. The dog stayed relaxed until the guy was gone. I went back to the path and wanted to take more pictures before going home. As we went back where we came from, it got really quiet until we heard a helicopter above us. I saw a police helicopter flying around when we got out of the trees. The next day, while watching the news with my mom, they talked about something scary. 2 women were hurt on a path close by the night before. One of them was really hurt, almost not alive anymore. The way they talked about was linked to the forest where I was walking. The person they described looked like the man I saw. He was tall, wore a black hat, and a dark jacket. I suddenly realized that I might have accidentally met the person who attacked someone else. I was safe because I trusted my gut feeling and was careful because of the camera I had. I was really shaken when I understood something important, so I told the police about what happened. I talked to them and told them everything I could remember. They listened carefully, but because I didn't have much to tell them, it felt like we couldn't make progress. Time went by, and the town felt more silent than normal. I still felt worried because the person who did something wrong might still be around. Then, when I was looking through the pictures on my camera, I noticed something strange. In a photo from the woods, there was a barely visible person standing behind a tree. They wore a black hat and a brown jacket like the person I saw earlier. I hurried to the authorities and showed them the picture. They looked at it carefully and said it was the person they were looking for. But then, they saw something surprising, a small movement in the background, hinting at someone else hiding among the trees. The detectives asked me for more information. They wanted to know if I remembered seeing anyone else or anything strange when I was in the woods that day. As I thought about it, I remembered seeing someone far away, but the trees made it hard to see them clearly. Later, they found out that when I saw the person they suspected, there might have been someone else nearby. That person might have seen more than I did. The investigation changed direction because of this new information. They started looking into the possibility that there was another person involved, or someone who saw what happened. The police looked harder for clues, talking to people nearby, searching the woods, and asking anyone who might have seen what happened. As time passed, everyone in town felt nervous because they didn't know what might happen next. Finally, some progress was made. A person who lives here told the police they were in the woods that night and saw someone else there too. What they said matched what I said, which really helped the investigation. The police worked really hard when they got a good clue. They searched everywhere, asked lots of questions to people they thought might be involved, and tried to understand what happened that important night. Everyone in the town was anxious and waiting for updates. After many weeks of not giving up, the police caught someone. They thought this person was the one who attacked someone. They also found out that there was another person who saw the attack and helped the police by giving important details. This helped them catch the real person who did the bad thing. The town felt really relieved because fairness finally happened. Something surprising happened in the case, starting with a random meeting in the woods, and then finding someone who saw what happened. This helped finish the scary experience for everyone involved. Last October, towards the end of the month, the weather was just right for hiking. It wasn't too hot or too cold. I had a group of close friends who loved hiking as much as I did. But it was hard to plan hikes together because everyone had different work schedules that changed a lot. So I started going on shorter hikes by myself. I really enjoyed the peacefulness of walking alone. One weekend when I had some free time, I decided to go hiking and camping on a trail I really liked. I remembered having great experiences there before, so I was excited to go back. On Saturday morning, I drove to the starting point of the trail and parked my car in a small, gravel parking lot. Then I started walking on the trail. The path at the start went through big, open fields with lots of grass that moved in the wind. Then, it went into a thick forest with really tall trees that made a peaceful hideaway from busy life. As I was walking alone for a while, surrounded by the sounds of rustling leaves and birds singing, I suddenly saw someone up ahead. It was a man walking confidently toward me. Meeting people in these quiet places didn't happen often. I said hello, but I noticed he wasn't dressed for hiking like you'd expect in such a remote area.
Hey, where are your friends?
He asked casually, but it made me feel uneasy. I wasn't ready for the question, so I paused and made up a story about my friends being late to meet me, hoping to avoid any trouble. Even though he smiled nicely, I still felt uncomfortable. When he walked away, I decided to take a different path, moving a bit to find a safer spot to set up my tent. I found a peaceful, quiet spot in the forest that was a bit away from the main path. It seemed inviting, so I decided to set up my camp there. I enjoyed the beautiful colors of the sunset while it got dark, but as night fell and the forest became very dark, I started feeling uneasy. I couldn't sleep because I was listening carefully to any sound of leaves moving, feeling a little worried. Late at night, the forest was really quiet, but suddenly, I heard footsteps that sounded like they were following a beat. It made me feel uneasy because it was breaking the peacefulness. I felt really scared as the footsteps got nearer, and they sounded like a person walking. Then all of a sudden they stopped just a few steps from where my tent was. I couldn't move because I was so scared. I didn't know if it was someone who needed help finding their way, or if it was something scary hiding in the dark. As the sun started to rise, I bravely looked outside because I was scared someone might be there. I didn't see anyone, but I felt worried as I packed up my things slowly. Just when I was about to leave, I saw a scary thing, a footprint near my tent that didn't belong to me. I got really scared and ran quickly back to the safe path. Every sound in the bushes made me even more scared. Forest used to feel safe, but now it felt tight and hiding dangers I couldn't see. I went back the way I came, looking around a lot because I felt really exposed and scared. I took a surprising turn on the path and ended up in a creepy, empty spot surrounded by a spooky quietness. There, hidden in the plants, I found a sign that showed I had strayed from the usual path without knowing. I suddenly understood. I had accidentally taken a different, unknown way. I was really scared, but I decided to go back where I came from. I was tired and felt weak, and every step made me remember how easily I could get hurt. The place that used to feel safe now seemed scary, like it was hiding things that could hurt me. I walked for a long time, even as the sun started to set and make long shadows. I felt so relieved when I finally saw the parking lot. My car felt like a safe place after being out in the wild for so long. When I told my friends about the scary thing that happened, they were as worried as I was. But when I told the authorities about it, they couldn't give much comfort. It was a quick, scary meeting in a lonely path, and there wasn't any proof or clues for them to follow. These days, I'm really careful when I go hiking. I used to love being alone in the woods, but now I feel a bit nervous. I can't shake the feeling that there might be dangers hiding there. I still don't know who that mysterious guy I saw on the trail was, and the forest keeps his secret. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face, or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. A long time ago, when I was only 15 years old, things were really different. My good friend Sam and I were super close. We both loved being out in nature, so we decided to go on a week-long backpacking adventure in the forests of California. We had done trips like this before, and I was really excited about this one. The trip began well, but things got a bit scary on the second night. Sam and I were setting up our camp when we heard some noises like someone walking on leaves. It was strange, because we weren't expecting to meet anyone out there in the deep woods, but it did happen occasionally. Then 3 people showed up, and they didn't seem like typical campers. They weren't carrying any camping stuff, just walking around. It felt weird, but I didn't think too much about it. We said hello. They asked if we were camping, and since we were setting up our tents, we said yes. After that, they left pretty quickly. I thought something was strange, but Sam didn't think it was a big deal. He thought they might be hunters with guns, which I hadn't noticed at first. Later that night, at about 2 a.m., I woke up because I heard shouts. Many people were yelling far away. I called out to Sam, and he was awake too, feeling just as confused. Then we heard gunshots, and they sounded like they were getting nearer. Are they chasing after someone? I asked Sam.
No, we can't stay here. We need to leave,
he said urgently. I felt really scared as I understood what was happening. Quickly, we gathered what we needed and rushed to the west. We walked fast for around 30 minutes, hearing shouting and gunshots in the distance. We stayed up the whole night feeling wide awake because of fear and excitement pumping through us. When the sun came up, we made a plan. We wanted to wait until it was lunchtime before going back to where we were staying. Our plan was to pack quickly and hurry back to our cars, ending our trip earlier than planned by 5 days. At noon, we went back carefully. What we saw shocked us a lot. Our place where we stayed was a mess. Our stuff was broken. Our tents had holes from bullets. It made me realize something serious. The people who did this meant to hurt us. What was weird is that they didn't take anything. They just messed everything up. We thought those 3 guys we saw before might be involved, but we didn't understand their reason. Everything was puzzling, and I felt fortunate that we all got away safely. While we collected what we could and walked back to our cars, I noticed something strange. There was an old trail sign that looked worn out and was almost hidden behind a tree. It seemed weird because I hadn't seen it when we first got there. I was really curious about something, so I talked to my friend Sam about it, but he didn't remember seeing it either. We both decided to check it out. It took us further into the woods, away from where we were supposed to go. The path we were following got trickier, like someone was hiding it on purpose. But we kept going, interested, but also a little cautious. We walked for a bit and found a quiet open space. It was spooky. There was this old broken cabin hidden by the trees. It seemed like no one had been there for a long time. I got scared when I saw something shiny by the cabin's door. Slowly, we went closer and saw a rusty old box. Sam opened it, and inside were some old papers and a ripped map. The papers were hard to read, but we figured out something scary. This cabin used to be a hiding place for criminals a while back. They stayed here and hid their stolen stuff in the forest. We started thinking that maybe those 3 guys were looking for this hidden treasure. They thought we were spying on them and wanted to scare us away because they didn't want us to find out their secrets. All of a sudden, things clicked in a strange way. The shouting and the gun sounds weren't meant for us. They were actually guarding their secret treasure. We felt both relieved and scared when we realized why they didn't take anything. They were keeping watch over their hidden stuff. We collected what we could and left because we didn't want any part in their risky plan. That day made us see the woods differently. We didn't tell anyone about what we found because we wanted to stay far from that mysterious and risky place. These days, camping doesn't excite us as much. The wild outdoors is big and pretty, but some places are better not explored.